Greetings everyone. So for today's video, we're going to present our midterm project which is bingo games where a program will generate different kinds of bingo cards that the user can use to play. But before we proceed to our presentation, I would like you to meet my group mates. Buenaflor John Paul, Senicola Victor Henry, Galang Joseph, Lingan Gabriel, Marcelana Eve, Morales Roger, Palma John Cedric, Panoy Ivan, and lastly Verda Regina Rose. That's all. Let's proceed to our presentation.
Hi, my name is John Paul Buenaflor and I'm here to discuss the HTML that we use. The head section includes the title of the web page and a link to a CSS file that provides styling for the web page. The body section contains several div elements with different ID attributes that serve as container for different parts of the bingo game web application. The first div with ID header div contains an image with the bingo logo. The second div with the class Qual's controls contain several input elements and buttons that allow the user to control the game. These include a number input element for the number of cards to draw, a button to draw the cards, a button to draw a ball, a button to clear the game, and a button to yell bingo. The third div with ID equals how to play contains order lists that explain how to play order lists that explain how to play the bingo game. The fourth div with class equals drawable container contains several head 1 and head 2 elements that display information about the game, such as the last ball draw and the draw ball in the game. The fifth div with class bingo containers contains a table with the letters B, I, N, G, and O in the first row and number in the subsequent rows, which represents the bingo card. The letters and the numbers are styled with different colors.
Greetings, I am Victor Henry R. Nicola and I will present the CSS or the cascading style sheets of the midterm project. And we used an external style sheet and imported it with this line of code in the head element of the HTML. So this is the actual styles.css file which is used like in here in the midterm project. So the default font family for all the element is this Go UI. It is a pretty common Windows font. And then this is the default value styles for button, which is this. And then this is also another property, which is the hover. When you hover with mouse the button, it will change color according to this. These are other elements, styles. Now this is the how to play, justified. And then this is the table, which is not displayed. And then the drawable button, which is this. When you hover it becomes red. It's from this one. And when you enter or draw card, these are the bingo cards that is actually set up in here. CSS can be overridden in the JavaScript. So, not necessarily CSS, but the style of that element. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Joseph Arganan Jr. My student number is 2102397. In line 2 to line 6, we initialize the constant variables of letters BINGO. In line 7, we initialize the constant variables of max ball draws to 75 because rule in a standard bingo game has max of 75 ball draws. In line 9 to line 13, we initialize the respective range of the numbers for each letters of BINGO from 1 to 75. In line 15 to line 19, we store the beginning and the end of the arrays of the range of number for each letters above. In line 21 to line 26, we initialize the colors of the respective letters. In line 28, eh, in line 29 to line 38, we initialize the variables that will be used to alter some elements in the DOM.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Lingan. For the function getRandomColor, it will be used for getting the background color header and text stroke in the further code. In this function, it will return a single value of color from an array of hex code colors declared at the top of the code. The function getRandomNumber within is also mentioned in this function. By using the index of the color hex codes array, it will pick randomly within the length of the array of colors. Next is the function whichColor by letter. This function returns a color that is appropriate for a specific letter. After naming the function variable letter of choice will be declared that will hold a letter either B, I, N, G, or O. Using the switch statement, it will return an appropriate hex color code for every letter. For this function getRandomNumber within, we will first declare a variable random that will hold the random number that will be selected in this function. Next is the method math.random. It will return a random number within two passed integers entered as arguments. Then the random variable will hold the selected number and then return the value. Next is the function random number by letter. This function generates a number according to the letter. After naming the function, a variable letter of choice will be declared. Using a switch statement, every letter in case generates a number within a specified range. For example, if P is picked as a letter of choice, a random number within 1 to 15 will be picked by using the getRandomNumberWithin function.
Greetings everyone, so I am Eva Marceliana. Here I will explain how to determine which range corresponding letter does the number belong to functions. Our group added an if condition statement which is used to specify a block of code to be executed. If a specified condition is true, then of course it is a bingo. A number is selected, of course it means you have a corresponding number to a letter in bingo. Here we also put a return keyword which returns a value from a method. The method will return the value immediately when the keyword is encountered. This means that the method will not execute any more statement beyond the return keyword, and any local variables created in the method will be discarded. With our code, we will find here that the number corresponds to the letter in bingo. If it's not in B, our code will search in I to N to G, N to O. We also have the class that checks for winning patterns in bingo. This is also showing the style and background of the property that once a number is selected, it will be marked or highlighted as red, which corresponds to the letters of that number or in the table is a marked cell. We created an object array where tables are pushed into this array when it has a winning pattern. When a set of consecutive marked cells in a straight line or diagonal is found, it's a bingo. There is also another winning pattern which is the four corners. Four corners is when the corner cells are marked. The free space makes it 5, however this is disabled as it's not the popular uncommon to enable. To prevent multiple alerts for every bolt thrown and checking of mark, we implemented a push-in array, then the whole table that has a bingo, so that it doesn't get bingo alert again for every bolt thrown event. It can also be found in the other pattern check functions, then same explanation. Then lastly colors the table header in bingo with each their different color when a bingo appears on the table to make it more distinct.
Good morning, my name is Roger Morales from 2ITE and my student number is 2100944 and I'm going to discuss the patterns in the bingo. For cross patterns, we use for each to check the rows and cells in cross line is equal to red. Then if the cross line in the bingo is red, then it will trigger the button bingo. For this code, it will change the table header in different colors when the bingo appears on the table. For example, if all the rows and cells in the cross line in the table is red, then the bingo appears in the table and it will change the table header bingo in different colors. For the straight pattern, we use for each to check the horizontal and vertical straight in the table. Then we use for loop to check if all rows and cells is equal to red. Then for this code, it's the same in cross patterns. It will change the table header in different colors when the bingo appears in the table.
Greetings, my name is Palmajan Cedric and I'll be discussing the vertical pattern in the bingo. To check for vertical pattern, we use for loop to check if one straight column is all red, then the yellow bingo button will appear. In this code, it will change the table header in bingo card with different colors that appears on the table. If you get a straight vertical line red, then yellow bingo button will be triggered and the table header bingo will be displayed in different colors. Next is clear found patterns. It clears all the found patterns. In this code, class bingo card, here we have a constructor to generate the matrix of the bingo cards in each letters. We use for loop to generate random numbers according to the letter based on random number by letter function above. This goes for all 5 letters B, I, N, G, O. After that, we set the matrix with newly generated matrix. Next is draw card. For this code, it creates the table elements to generate the bingo card to be displayed. In this line, we use for loop to create the table rows and cells. We use if-else condition to add the letters B, I, N, G, O to the first row.
My name is Ivan Froy A. Panoy. My student number is 210-2330. Clear card function clears the game board by setting this dot matrix and this dot cards to an empty array and then removing all the tables with a class of cards table. Ball draw has a constructor that initializes the ball draws and num draws variables to an empty array to 0. Respectively, it also creates a bingo patterns object called pattern checker. Draw ball cards method generates a random number within a range and check if it has already been drawn. It generates another random number until it finds one that hasn't been drawn yet. Then marks the drawn number on the game board by changing the background color of the corresponding cell to red. It also updates the game board with the drawn number by updating the draw ball element and creating a new element with the drawn number on a colored ball. Finally, it calls the mark cards table random number method to mark the drawn number on all the cards and checks for winning patterns with the pattern checker. Check patterns tables method if the maximum number of draws 75 has been reached. It alerts the player and disables the draw button. The mark cards tables random number method marks the drawn number on all cards by changing the background color, text color, and the font weight of the corresponding cell to indicate that the number has been drawn. It also prints a message to the console.
As you can see in our program, we have the clear draw function. This function will be included in the clear button function later. So this clear draw function will help the program remove all the draw balls once the user click the clear button. So we have a constant variable bingo is equals to new bingo card. This code creates a new instance of bingo card function. We also have a constant variable draw card button is equals to document that get element by ID button draw cards. This is the button element to draw a card for the user. So, in the constant variable draw card button, we put add event listener. So, every time the user click the button will be triggered. As you can see in our code, we disable the draw ball button because it will only be enabled once the user click the draw card button. So, in the constant variable card input, we put this code to determine the number of cards the code will generate based on the user's input. And the constant variable num cards is equals to input that value is the one to get the value of the input fields and will help to determine how many cards will be generated. And below this variable, we have a for loop that will help to create a unique bingo cards for every successful loop. Clear button. So we have a constant variable clear button is equals to document that get element by ID button clear. We put an add event listener on clear button so that once we click the clear button, it will trigger all the function that the clear button has. So to clear all the classes, we put the clear function on each class. Like in bingo clear card, it helps to clear the card and remove all the numbers. While in draw cards that clear draw, it will clear or remove all draw balls that the previous game displayed. While in last draw ball text that inner HTML, we make it empty to clear its content. And in draw ball button, we disable it again like from the start so that the user can't draw any balls without having a bingo card. While the draw card button that disable is equals to false because, as I was saying, the user needs to generate the card first before drawing any number. And we set 1 as the initial value of our draw card button, while the rest of the function will restart on their original design. And here in our program, we put yell bingo function so that other player will know if someone already won. And the yell bingo will only appear once the code detect any pattern in your card. And if the player clicks the button yell bingo, all the button will be disabled and the only functional button is the clear button so that you can restart your game. And lastly, we put a reference to our logo and color scheme in the console.log. That's all. Thank you.